Will Watch Dogs be a true Game of the Year contender, or is it merely a dolled-up Grand Theft Auto? What is going on, guys and girls? It is Ghost Robo, and today we're talking all about Watch Dogs. A bunch of new previews, info, and gameplay was released this morning, and I'm here to share it all with you. So, we've seen little bits and pieces of Watch Dogs. It's this really cool-looking detective spy hacking game in a really pretty Chicago city. But what's the overarching concept? What's the overarching theme? And today we officially found out that it is a open-world GTA-styled game with a heavy focus on shooting and taking down the criminals. But there are some intricate little things and differences that set it apart, and a lot of it has to do with your main character, detective spy Aiden Pearce, a man with a ton of technology at his disposal. Hacking is basically the way the world goes around in this universe, so your guy can do just about anything. They gave some really cool examples of him hacking a dude's Wi-Fi network to then hack his laptop webcam to then be able to see into his apartment, find his license plate number, track down his car, eventually steal the car and keep it for yourself. They also gave examples of his phone where you can add apps to the phone. One is sort of like that Shazam app where you can hold it up, listen to a song, copy that song to your playlist, and all of a sudden you've added that to your repertoire of in-game music. There are mini games on the phone, a whole bunch of things, and you can also interact with security cameras, other people's cell phones. It's all about hacking and taking things down. You can do it while you're fighting. Maybe you open up a new piece of cover. You can do it while you're driving. Maybe you hack a garage to get in and get away from someone chasing you or the cops themselves. But will this really elevate the game beyond Grand Theft Auto? That is yet to be seen. They are saying that it will. They talked a lot of stuff about the dynamic nature of this game, about how they don't want Watch Dogs to feel like a scripted affair. They want to really make sure it is something that creates a lot of unique moments, fun stories for players to tell. One of the examples they gave was back at E3 2012. They showed Aiden Pearce walking to an intersection, hacking the traffic light, causing a car crash. His target then was stopped, got out of the car, and they exchanged some bullets. But that is not a scripted affair, apparently. You can go to any intersection at any point in the game, night, day, whatever street corner you want, hack the traffic light, and something crazy is bound to happen. They didn't want their game to be walk to the intersection, press the triangle button, and watch things happen, and then, oh yes, he crashed, and they got out of their car, and they took cover behind their car, and there was this very little, tightly controlled instance. They want it to be, maybe it's a huge crash that lights a gas station on fire. Maybe people just get pissed off and slow down and drive around it. Maybe it kills who knows? Whatever could happen might happen. And that's kind of really cool. And it really makes you wonder, how many instances are there? How dynamic is it? Because whenever a company, a developer, a PR group talks about something like this, you gotta be a little skeptical because it never seems to work out exactly how they want. Now, granted, they are putting Watch Dogs on the next generation consoles as well as the current ones, and they did show off the game using a PlayStation 4 controller, so perhaps they have access to some new stuff, some extra oomph that can make this work. But do remember that it is a cross-gen game, so for the most part, it is going to have to be able to perform adequately on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. Now, the big question is, how does this game differentiate itself from Grand Theft Auto, especially because they're coming out pretty close to each other. Grand Theft Auto 5 releases in September, and that's from a very well-respected team. Rockstar is the master of the open world. And now Ubisoft is trying their hands on Watch Dogs in November, and can it really elevate itself above and beyond what we experienced in September with GTA 5? Now, hacking is very cool, and I think the concept of this world that can be sort of manipulated at your fingertips, you can get inside any security camera, you can knock cell phones out of people's hands. They gave this cool example of, like, if you're hacking too obviously, if you're being a very bad spy, people might get suspicious and call the police on their cell phones. Well, you can go and hack those cell phones so they don't work anymore. You can just go and knock the cell phone out of their hand. Some really cool, like, little effects. The movement looks good, the weather looks good. They're talking about incorporating wind because it is, of course, the windy city of Chicago, and different things that will make this game feel very well crafted and hopefully different. You see in the gameplay how the whole interaction with fights are structured, a lot more planning things out, a lot less just running up and shotgunning people in the face, maybe a little bit more stealth. Also, though, they did say that there is a lot of guns and you will be required to use guns to get through this game. So the big question for me personally is, does this hacking layer, this hacking overlay, this whole concept of being this super awesome detective spy guy, does that add enough to the gameplay to set it apart from its rivals? Because, what's the real difference between walking to an area and holding down the triangle button to activate some event, and walking to an area and pressing the A button or the square button or whatever button it is to hack a security camera? Now, I will admit that it does seem and sound very cool to be this awesome detective guy in the city going around causing a lot of trouble with your awesome high-tech device. I think that is a great overlying concept. But from a mechanical standpoint, how does that distinguish itself from me playing GTA? Is this just going to be a game in a different city with a whole different bunch of guns and different cars, and I'm going around doing the typical missions? One of the things they didn't really talk about was multiplayer, but that is a part of it, and supposedly we saw a little bit of it at E3 2012. Again, going back to that example, there was a security camera that was kind of tracking Aiden Pierce, and supposedly, we don't really know the organization of how this works, but supposedly another player was in the game tracking Aiden Pierce as part of some side mission for a different faction. Maybe that is the thing that defines Watch Dogs and kind of elevates it above and beyond. I don't know. Will it really be able to distinguish itself, though? It seems to be its defining question, and there's tons of time left. Got a good 6 months before this game comes out. I'm sure we will see a huge info blowout at E3. Even though we found out some new stuff today, we really don't know everything. We've seen, you know, the overlying foundation of this game, that it's open world, that it's gun-based, but above and beyond that, we don't know much about story. We don't know much about how the missions are handled, how they are acquired, how they are dealt with. Is it just Aiden walking around seeing stuff? And, like, that would be really cool, you know, if he just comes upon these instances. And we also don't know how dynamic is the world, really. Of course, they've said that you can go and do this, you can go and do that, but we have trained ourselves enough, hopefully, to know that when a developer says that, you have to just wait. You have to wait till you really see it in action. And especially because this game is not truly a pure next-gen game. It is cross-gen. So you would imagine that they didn't have limitless potential to innovate on a whole system where everything is freeform, where everything is random. They were still tied to constraints that the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 present. So I think that it's on the right track. I think it sounds really cool. I like the way the movement looks, especially in the game. I think the graphical style and the look of the world is really appealing to me. And again, that whole concept of being this more action-oriented detective, like, seems like an open-world LA Noire in a really cool setting, and I like the hacking thing. Will it distinguish itself enough to not be a watered-down version of GTA or just a prettier version of GTA? I don't know. That is what we're going to have to see. I want to know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you like what you're hearing? Where do you think they can go with this thing? Do you think it's going to evolve beyond Grand Theft Auto Part 2 this fall? We will have to wait and see. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be bringing you more coverage as we get closer to launch, and definitely as E3 rolls around in the next month. Thank you again. Have a fantastic day, guys and girls. Drink some hot chocolate, and we will see you all later.